Okay, this question is for a friend of mine in Houston, Texas. Sugarland, Texas, to be exact. She's having problems with word problems and system of equation word problems. And basically, I'll read the narrative and then I'll just show you what I wrote down. But here's the narrative, and you can rewind this if you need to. But the school spent $4,650 last year to purchase 100 new calculators. Some were graphic calculators that cost $105 each, but the rest were scientific that cost $15 each. How many of each kind were purchased? Okay, now the first thing, and this is the toughest part, is setting up your system of equations. Setting them up, that's the hardest part. The way you have to look at it is you have a multiplier on one side, and I'll explain that. 105 is you're gonna have two variables. One variable is gonna mean one team or thing. The other variable is gonna mean the other team or the other thing. Okay, so let's just say XY, right? So in this case, let me get a new color. X. Let's let X be our graphing calculator and Y be our scientific calculator. Okay. But this is what I will write down. School spends $4,650. It's 100 calculators. The graphing ones cost $105 each. The scientific ones cost $15 each. Now, the total number of the things are not where the multipliers are going. The multipliers always go to the total score of the money obtained or achieved, if you will. And that's how you have to look at these to set them up. So, the total of the things, or the items, would just be X plus Y equals how many items? 100 calculators. So that's one of our systems. X plus Y equals 100. Okay? The multipliers go to the money, or total cost, or number of points gained when you look at these. So 105, because X is the first variable. X is graphing calculator. So the graphing calculators are $105 each, plus the scientific calculators are $15 each, and that equals $4,650. All right. So that's how you set it up. All right. Now let's get rid of this for a little bit. What we'll do is, so we don't forget, X is equal to graphing. Y is equal to psi. I'll just put psi, scientific calculator. Okay. So out of all this money we spent, $4,650 on 100 calculators. How many calculators did we? So we're going to find all our unknowns. We're going to find out how many calculators, graphing, how many calculators are scientific, and what was the total cost, and how we came up. So what I love about system of equations, and I'm going to just bring this up here because of our real estate. I don't want to run out. I love system of equations because you can manipulate them. Now, what I want to do, I love eliminating and isolating and substituting. So I'm looking at this. What am I going to eliminate? I'm going to eliminate 15 because I could easily multiply this by 15 and come up with a negative 15 to zero out the y's and isolate the x variable. All right. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply both sides, multiply the bottom by negative 15. The whole equation. It's beautiful. So it gives me negative 15x minus 15y equals 1500, or actually negative 1500. Then what I'm going to do is a process called adding down. I'm going to get rid of this for a minute and just focus on these two, and then I'll come back to this. But what I've done is manipulated this so it'll work better with this. equation, because I looked at this, I'm like, wow, 15, well, all right, if I wanted to multiply by 105 and do it, but 15 is simpler. All right, so 15 was multiplied by the whole bottom equation to give us a negative 15. Now 105 minus 15 is actually 90x, negative 15y, no, 15y, negative 15y, 0y. And let's see, 4650 minus 1500, 0, 5, 1, 3150. Okay. All right. So what I've done is 105 minus negative 15, 15 minus 15y. Or I should have said 105x minus 15x is 90x. 15y minus 15y equals 0y. And then 4650 minus 1500 is 3150. Now you can take your calculator, but what's going to happen is I'm going to multiply 90 by, divide 3150 by 90. And we'll do that in our calculator. And we get 35. So basically we divide both sides by 90. And x is going to be equal to 35. That tells me I have 35 graphing calculators, which is x. And I was outside our real estate. Alright, so I have 35. I'll just put graphing calculators. Okay. So now I can forget about this because we just manipulated this just for our purposes to get to the bottom of what x was. Alright, so we have 35 graphing calculators. So 35 graphing plus y equals 100. We subtract 35 from both sides. And sorry about that, 65. Right. So we have 65. I'll just put sci-fi, scientific calculators. Okay. So if we plug in 35 and 65, do we get 100? Yes. 3, 5 plus 5, 0. Carry the 1, 3 plus 9, 10. We get 100 calculators. Now let's find out the total cost, which will be 105 times 35 graphing calculators, and then 65 times 65 times what? $15 a piece. I'm sorry, I got lost. These were $105 a piece. These were $15 a piece. At any rate, we have to, and this is G for graphing calculator cost, and then S for scientific calculator cost. Okay, so 25, 0, 2, 5, 0, 15, 0, 1, 3, 6, 7, 5. Why did I put a 6? So I bumped my head a lot when I was a kid. $3,675 for graphing calculators. $975 for scientific calculators. So now what we have to look at, if we take this cost and this cost, will it add up to $4,650? Let's take a look. 3, 6, 7, 5, 9, 7, 5. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry 1, 14, carry 1, 15, add a 1, 16. Looks like we got our answer. So the graphing calculators, we got 35 graphing calculators, 65 scientific calculators, and we purchased 105 of them. I'm sorry, we purchased 35 graphic calculators at $105 each, and 65 scientific calculators at $15 each. And our total cost yielded graphing calculator cost $3,675. The scientific calculator cost $975. And we added them up and we arrived back at what our original question said we spent on the graphing calculators. And this is not a 6, it is a 0. Sorry about that. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry the 1. So that was fun. Okay, but remember, when you're setting up these questions, the simple singular variables come up to the total of things that you're trying to figure out, which was, in our case, calculators. And then the multipliers, the 105 and the 15, go towards the price, the total cost, the total points gained, miles gained, whatever, how you set this up. But you have to look at everything. So, thank you so much for watching. We have another question coming up. Okay, our first question is a word problem, and we're going to turn this into a system of equation. The Lakers scored 80 points. The Lakers scored 80 points. I read that twice because that's at the top. They scored 80 points against the Heat. They made a total of 37. So we got 87, total of 37, 2 and 3-point baskets. So again, the Lakers scored 80 points and they scored a total of 37, 2 and 3-point baskets combined. So they threw some 2-pointers and they threw some 3-pointers. All right. And the question is asking us, how many 2-point baskets did they make and how many 3-point baskets did they make? Okay, it's not too bad. All right, so you could pause there and work it out. And then let's just see what we got. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with variables x and y. Okay? And x is going to be 2-point shots. Y is going to be 3-point shots. Okay? So first we're going to establish how many now. The combined 2 and 3-point shots equal 80, right? So let's just say 2-pointers plus 3-pointers is equal to 80. All right. Now, each one of these combined, they made 37 2 and 3-pointers. Okay. So that's, if you go back, they made 37 2 and 3-pointers, right? But what we have to do is, our 2-point shots have to be assigned a 2 next to it, and our 3-point shots have to be assigned a y to it. And combined, that's 80 points. So, we have 2 conditions. Here's one, I won't let that one go. Alright, so, then x plus y, that's the number of shots. So we got the points, but we got the number of shots that each 2 and 3-pointer made. So we want to know, we want to have an equation for the number of points. The 2 and 3-point shots combined gave us 80 points. And the second equation is the number of baskets. So 37 baskets. Okay. So that's basically our system of equation. Now what I'm going to do is, if you look at my system of equation videos before, if you've ever looked at them before, I'm going to come up with this and just kind of see where I am with my real estate. And okay, so that's what we start out with. All right. Now, with system of equations, I can kind of manipulate this. All right. So, what I could do is I could multiply the bottom by -2, and we come up with a new. If I multiply this by -2, it'll be -2x minus 2y equals -74. And that almost looks like it's a part of 7, so I'll put a negative 74 there. So multiply the bottom. The reason why I do that because I want to add down what we do calling add down to make one of these variables just cancel out, and the 2x and the negative 2x cancel out. So it gives us, if we add down 0x and plus y equals negative 74, which is 6. So y equals 6. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put 6 in our original equation here instead of y. Since we've defined what y is, we just got to find x. So negative 6, no, I'm sorry, just 6 goes there, right? So if I subtract 6 from both sides, x is going to be equal to 31. All right. So again, x is going to be the number of 2-point shots. So there's 31 2-point shots. Okay. And there were 6 3-point shots. So we have our x and our y. Now it worked out in this equation, but we need to test it in this equation. So we need to plug in 6 here and 31 here. And let's see if that works. We can do it here. 31 times 2 is 62 plus 18. Does that equal 80? Yes, it does. Okay, so the equation works here and works here. So that's our answer right here. The team shot 31 2-point shots and they earned 62 points, and then they shot 6 3-pointers, which is 18 shots, and that's how they got a total of 80 points. Oh, I'm sorry, I had to put it here. 80 points. Ran out of real estate there. So that is our answer. If you have any other questions about systems of equations in the word problem format, please just shoot me a message in the comments box. I read all my comments daily, and thanks for watching. Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Math with Kieno. Today we are doing word problems with system of equations questions. Did I say that? No. We're doing word problems with system of equations, or system of equations word problems. Alright, I paraphrase this, but the whole paragraph reads, an exam worth 145 points contains 50 questions. Some of the questions are worth 2 points and some are worth 5 points. So we have, the whole exam is worth 145 points. We have 50 questions in this exam or test, and it's comprised of 2-point and 5-point questions. So we basically want to know how many 2-point questions are on the test. I don't know why I just specifically zoned in on the 5, but my bad. How many 2-point questions are on the test and how many 5-point questions are on the test. Alright, so this is not too bad. The first thing you have to do is you have to establish your ground rules. Okay? We're going to let x equal the 2-point questions and y equals the 5-point questions. Okay? After we establish who's going to be the 2-pointers and who's going to be the 5-pointers, then we need to set up our equation. Alright? Now, the first equation is going to be for the total number of points. So we're going to put a 2 on the x and a 5 on the y because we have 2. This is 2-point, and then that's 5-point question. So I don't know where I can put this. Maybe up here where it's still legible and visible. 2 points, y equals 5 point questions. All right, now, so we have that established. Now, what we need to do is we have to set up how many points we're going to get. 145. What is going to make up this 145 points? Well, it's going to be the 2 point questions and the 5 point questions. Remember, so 2 points times this plus 5 points times this somehow is going to equal 145. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. All right, so our 2 point and 5 point questions are going to come up to 245. And then our second equation is for the total number of questions. Well, there's 50 questions total. And I should have put that there. 50 questions total. So the 50 questions is going to be a combination of 2 point and 5 point questions. And then that's going to be 50 questions. Again, what I like to do, we can manipulate. That's what I like about system of equations. You can manipulate. We can be like, you know what? And this is my favorite. Elimination and substitution. That's my favorite. I'll just be like, you know what? We'll take this and we will multiply this by -2. Whole equation. So that's going to give us, and remember, we don't forget about this, but what we do is we'll have -2x minus 2y equals 100. Okay? And we're going to forget about this for a minute because now we've multiplied by 2 to give us a new equation. So 2 minus 2, we're going to have 0x because that's going to cancel out. And then 5 minus 2y is going to give us positive 3y. And then this is -100, actually 5 times -2 is -100. And this is so nice because 145 minus 100 is just going to give us 45. Okay. And I could see why if I divide both sides by 3 in this equation, knowing that we are running out of real estate, or getting pretty close, then these two cancel out and y is going to be equal to 115. Alright, so already at this point I know how many 5-point questions I have. Alright, I have 15 5-point questions because I go back here. X represents the 2-point questions, y equals the 5-point questions. We found y. 15 5-point questions. Alright, so we have half our problem. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our 15, plug it into the simplest equation, which is the x plus y. Forget about that. We don't need that anymore. But the x plus y is the simplest. We take 15, we plug it in y. We subtract 15 from both sides. And I think x is going to be equal to 35. We'll take this out. Put 15 in here. Subtract 15 from both sides. Yep. 35. So x is equal to 35. 2-point questions. Alright. Now you could leave it there if you wanted to, or you could plug it in here to test it out here to see if x being 35 and y being 15 holds true. So we got more real estate over here. So 2 x, where's my x? X was 35 plus 5, y is 15 equals, let's see if that equals 145. Alright, this 2 times 35 is 70 plus 5, 75. 70 plus 70, it's 177, 140, 145. So we tested it out and it works. Okay. So again, these are not too bad. The thing that you have to do is you have to establish using your x and your y. How many x is going to be our 2-point question. 5 is going to be, or y is going to be our 5-point question. Okay. And then you set it up for points. Okay, a combination of X and Y 2-point and 5-point questions are going to equal 145 points. But some of them are 2 points, some of them are worth 5 points. So 2x plus 5y equals 145. That is our first equation. Our second equation, a combination, and we just did that for substitution, but a combination of 2-point and 5-point questions are going to amount to the number of questions. So we don't look at that as points, like multipliers, like 2 points and 5 points. We just say, look, a combination of X and Y, 2-point and 5-point questions is going to equate to 50 questions, total number of questions. So we put it in a situation of points. The reason why we assign the 2 and the 5 here, because we have to multiply by our 2, because this is giving us our total amount of points. This test is equal to 145 points. So this is where the multipliers go. 2-pointers, 5-pointers. When we're just talking about questions, then we just say, okay, X, 2-point question, plus 5-point questions. It's just the number of questions. It has nothing to do with points. So the multipliers don't go in there. Just a combination of 2-point, 5-point questions are going to equal to 50 total questions. All right, so we work it out like we always do, and I love just manipulating this. I multiply it by -2, so I can add down and cancel out the 2's and isolate the y variable, and then just worked it out. So I know I sound all excited like I'm a newscaster or something. Kobe ran down the middle of the court. But, you know, hey, I love math and I'm excited about it. So I thank you, and I hope this piqued your... And word problems are tough, but you just got to look at them and work them out, and you'll be fine. So again, comments, questions, hit the comment box. Thanks for watching Math with Kieno. Bye-bye.